Good evening to one and all. This is Dinesh Kumar. I am going to take today Optical Communications Unit 5's next topic, solitons. So in the yesterday's class we have seen about EDFA amplifiers. The continuation of that I am going to post it in a video with an innovative idea that I had thought of. So let's go to solitons. So we'll be seeing optical communication unit 5, solitons in optical fiber communication. So first of all, I'll give you the contents that we are going to see. So I'll be giving you the details of introduction, solitons in fiber optics, history of the solitons in optical fiber communication, and how this soliton pulses are present. A solitary wave is a wave that retains its shape despite having its dispersion effects and non-linearity effects. A soliton satisfies this as a soliton has a pulse that coincides with another similar type of pulses, and still it is able to retain its shape after the collision, though in the presence of both the dispersion effects and the non-linearity effects. So we had seen pulse dispersion effects, we had seen pulse modulation, pulse mode dispersion effects. All these efforts, though it occurs in a system, they are being compensated by a specific type of pulse being generated due to this solitary wave. So that makes this optical fiber system to transmit at a higher transmission bandwidth. So this solitons was first observed as a solitary wave in the year 1838 by John Scout Russell, who lived during the period of 1808 to 1882. He was a Scottish engineer at Edinburgh. He has first observed these solitary waves. I hope you all are able to see. Just a minute, I'll just zoom a bit. That may be fine. Right. This was first observed by John Scott Russell. He observed these solitary waves in the sea waters during 1838. He had found that a specific spike of pulses which led to solitary waves had given him some information. So let's see that what is those things, right? So the resulting water that was seen at a greater height and traveled rapidly and unattenuated over a longer distance formed the solitary waves. So after these waves passed through slower waves of lesser height emerging from interaction had undistorted and their identities were unchanged. So what is this necessary, or what does this solitary waves gives an idea to us is that though we have noises arise due to pulse dispersion mode or due to the non-linearity effects in the system, these solitons which have solitary waves will compensate those effects such that we get the signals uninterrupted. Then why these solitons in fiber optics? So this solitons provide us a data transfer capability over 2 dozens of conversations where we use a copper wire transmission lines. So when we use a pair of wires or a pair of fibers with over 1200 conversations, which is equivalent to a 9 television channel in the mid 80s, was an achievement by this solitons. So the next consideration for this is that these solitons were used in optical fibers, which was equivalent to 70 television channels at a transmission rate of 4 gigabits per second during the earlier 1990s, which had increased in transmission rate with lesser distance repeater stations. These solitons have greater stability to make long distance communication without much use of repeaters or without the much usage of the double transmission capacities. So this was why the fibers had used soliton pulses in this system. So the history turns back during the year 1973, where Akira Hasegawa of AT&T Bell Laboratories were the first to suggest this type of solitons could exist in optical fibers that gave balances between the cell-phase modulated systems and the dispersion systems. These solitons in fiber optic system were described by the Manakov equations, and this type of observation gave a solution towards the propagation in optical fibers in the year 1987. Following the year, these solitons were transmitted with the effect of Raman effect over around 4,000 kilometers, which was successful also. So subsequently this, the Bell Laboratories made a research team to find out at what rate this solitons could work and how they can be impulsed into the existing optical fibers. So in the year 1991, these solitons were error free at 2.5 gigabits per second for over 14,000 kilometers, which had used erbium optical fibers that we had discussed in the earlier class, erbium doped fiber amplifiers. So after the achievement of this, the combination of the optical solitons with different wavelengths was done with as much as higher data rate of 1 terabit per second. In the year 2001, the practical usage of solitons became a reality after the research. So how this soliton is present in an OFC? The soliton is very narrow. It has high intensity optical pulse where the group velocity dispersion or the GVD causes most pulses to broaden in time, which has advantage of non-linear effects in silica resulting from Kerr non-linearity and overcome the pulse broadening effects of group velocity dispersion. This shows the soliton wave phenomena where the beam spreads in time and space on propagation. You can see this narrow band pulse which is being generated. So then as the wave propagates, the broadening of the diffraction takes place by the GVD. So this is your resultant. I hope you are able to see this two beams. Okay. which is due to JVD, time broadening by JVD. So this spatial or temporal soliton gives this type of broadening of waves, which are self-trapped beams due to this non-linear effects. The solitons in the OFC depends on the type of the shape being chosen, the pulse that is being obtained due to its propagation under varying periodic repeating changes. So the family of pulse that do not change the shape is called as a fundamental soliton, and the family of pulses that undergo some periodic changes are called as high order solitons. So on the left we can see an Gaussian pulse, so that has the envelope of the field oscillating at a defined frequency. So this frequency remains constant. I'll enlarge it. This frequency remains perfectly constant during the pulse. You can see the Kerr non-linearity effect and the group velocity dispersion effect. I'll just zoom a bit. You can see the frequency dispersion, which remains constant, though the JVD and Kerr non-linearity effect are being impulsed on the soliton system. Now let us see this pulse propagation through a fiber with group velocity d greater than 0. The higher frequency components will propagate with a bit faster than the lower frequencies. This is your generalized thing, which we all know that. So thus the arriving frequency arrives before the end of the fiber. So overall we can call this type of signal as a wider pulse signal. So you can see this effect of the phase modulation on frequency versus time with respect to intensity, which varies from 0 to infinite in the time phase, which is 0 is at the center where we can see, and dispersion of wave that takes place. So at the beginning of the pulse, the frequency is lowered as seen here, this point, and at the end it's higher, you can see at this point. So after the propagation through the ideal channel, we get a chipped pulse with no broadening, so which is at this point, right? So this is the achievement of the soliton. There are two effects that introduce the change in the frequency in two opposite directions that are different. It is possible to make this pulse such that the two effects balance each other. So considering the higher frequencies that we are going to use, the linear dispersion will tend to propagate them at a faster rate, while the nonlinear curve effect will slow them. The overall effect will be that the pulse will not change while propagating. So the effect which is being obtained due to this is as a result of the optical soliton pulses, which is always a no optical pulse, which is a monochromatic, and since the medium being used is always dispersive in nature, the pulse will spread in time with increasing distance along the fiber. So they need to analyze this soliton pulse is a must. In a fiber, this pulse is being affected by the group velocity dispersion and the Kerr nonlinearity effect. So when high intensity optical pulse is coupled to the fiber, the optical power modulates the refractive index of the fiber, thereby leading to the core as well as coupling losses. So we had seen core and cladding, it's not coupling, it's cladding losses. So this will induce phase fluctuations in the propagating waves, thereby producing chirping effect in the pulse. So the result of this will lead us that the pulse will have lower frequency and the back of the pulse will have higher frequency than the carrier frequency. There are two mediums that we need to see with respect to GVD. One is with the positive medium, another one is a negative medium. So when we have a positive group velocity dispersion, what does it happens? What happens to the soliton, and what happens when the medium is with solitons with negative GVD? We'll see that. So when we have the medium with positive GVD, the pulse is shifted towards the lower frequencies such that the speed in that portion increases. In the next half, the frequency rises such that the speed decreases. So this is causing the trailing edge to be further delayed. And also the energy in the center of pulse is dispersed to either left side or right side, making the pulse to take a rectangular wave shape. So what do we illustrate from this is that these positive GVDs affects this system, which limits the high speed long distance transmission with these solitons. So I will show the diagram as how does it affects with a graph. I hope this zooming will show you a nice quality of the positive positive GVD with soliton pulses. You can see that the relative time as it increases along the distance of the fiber, the relative intensity due to the positive GVD goes on decreasing, and here you can see that there is occurring an dispersion. So due to that, the signals are being affected. So in the next case, I'll be showing you the soliton medium which is having a negative group velocity dispersion. So this counteracts this chip produced by single pulse mode. So this GVD retards the lower frequencies in the front end of pulse and has the advances of high frequencies at the back. So this provides pulse energy to be sufficiently strong and the pulse shape is maintained appropriately. So what does it result is that this point. It results in high intensity with a sharper peaked soliton pulse that neither changes the shape nor the spectrum as long as it travels along the optical fiber transmission link. So as the distance of the fiber increases, the high intensity sharping peaked soliton pulses never changes its shape due to this negative GVD. So I'll show you this. So you can see that. Is it? Can you see that? Right? I think so. You may see it completely. I'll just move further back. Right? Soliton pulses. So same. See the distance. As the distance along the fiber increases, the relative intensity is maintained a constant in negative GVD. So this makes the system to use solitons as an high end transmission system in optical fibers. So we can see that the zero dispersion point of this soliton is around 1320 nanometer. If the wavelength is being operated below 1320 nanometer, the value goes to positive, which we consider as a shorter wavelength, and when the B2 value is negative, we call this system to be having a longer wavelength. So therefore the operation region or the operation wavelength of this soliton is around the wavelength of 1320 nanometer. So with this, I would like to give you the references from which I had taken this. Obviously, this is our textbook that we are following, Optical Fiber Communication by Kaiser. If you have any doubts or queries regarding this presentation or regarding the optical communication, you can mail me. I'll be addressing you. Or I have a plan to have an live session. You can come into the live chat. I'll announce the date and time at the earliest. Fine. Thank you.